And if you go through your house at midway, you're gonna be my hero forever because I could not do that. If I if after 300K I'm near my house, I'm stopping at it for sure.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another video. In this podcast, I'm talking to Evens Stievenart, winner and record holder of the Race Across America. We will be discussing the tips and tricks and the key factors of training and racing an ultra distance event. So if you want to know more about cycling 12 hours, 24 hours, or even multiple days, stay tuned. What's up, guys? What's up, cycling fanatics? My name is Jasper and this is my first podcast. This is a video that I recorded 4 weeks ago in preparation to my 572 kilometer long cycling challenge. I went from the south of the country all the way to the north, passing all 12 provinces, and I prepared this to the last detail. And one of the things is I had a talk to one of my friends from Los Angeles, California, Evens. And Evens is a ultra distance specialist and champion. He's got the record for the longest distance traveled in 24 hours, 950 something kilometers. He's got the record of the Race Across America, 5,000 kilometers in 6.5 days in a two-man team. And he's just a very impressive athlete, and he knows what he's talking about when we're talking about long rides. So go check it out. It is like a 35-minute talk, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be valuable information, and you can actually use this information for other training as well. So enjoy.
So here we are with my very first podcast, I think. So what's up, guys? What's up, cycling fanatics? I am talking today to a very special guy I met in Los Angeles. He lives in Redondo Beach. Evens Stievenart, exceptional ultra endurance athlete. I can say that. You are 37 years old. I checked on Wikipedia, and if you have a Wikipedia page about you, that means it's special, I think. I don't have a Wikipedia page. And checking that page, dude, you have an impressive list of accomplishments, not just in cycling, but also in car racing. But today we're going to talk about the cycling part. Yeah, I don't know where to start. Maybe just give a short intro, and then we'll start about the long training, because we're going to talk about long distance cycling.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be your first invite to that podcast. I'm sure you're gonna kill it, man. Everything you do it well. So I'm sure that podcast in a couple of years will be a big success. So no, thank you for having me. So yeah, my name is Evans, pro race car driver for a couple of years. Started when I was 16. So it's been a long journey already, and definitely very much passionate about cycling. And like in the last 5-6 years, I got myself into ultra cycling, and I was lucky enough to do some good results over 24 hours races, and as well as two-man winner of the Race Across America in 2019.
Very impressive, with a record, huh? Not just a winner. You guys set a new record. The details right here. 4,960 kilometers in 6 days, 10 hours and 39 minutes, averaging 31.95 kilometers an hour. That's crazy.
Yeah. Even when you tell it like that, I have a hard time to believe that we did that. You know, it's
5,000 kilometers.
Yeah. It was amazing. I was ready to do the solo version in 2020.
Yeah,
but of course, with the pandemic, with the COVID-19, it has been cancelled. But I'm looking forward to do that race solo in 2021.
All right. Yeah, and we talked about this race before, because me and Evans, we used to ride together a little bit. I got to know him in Los Angeles on my layovers there, and you know, whenever I was there, I sent him a message. Yo, Evans, I'm there this and this day. He was always ready to ride. And riding with Evans, it's always a big ride or a hard ride. He's never easy. He's a freaking machine. He's like a diesel engine that just keeps on going. And so, you know, we had a lot of talks about RAAM 2019, and it was a very special experience for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, we like we said earlier, we can talk about those things for hours and hours. In short, it's just an incredible adventure, right? It just everyone dreams about crossing America, right? Either in a motorcycle, in an RV, in a car. It's kind of a dream that we have, and we were lucky enough to do that as a team. So with my teammate, but also with some, of course, a crew, which are crucial for the race and for being successful. And we did that as a team, and we crossed America with the power of our legs. So it's just amazing to do that. And of course, along the journey, there is so many stories, but again, we can talk about that for hours.
For a long time. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about your preparation for RAAM, but maybe even better for like a 12 or 24-hour event, because that's more similar to what I am going to do. I'm planning a ride across the Netherlands from the most southerly point to the most northerly point, crossing all 12 states, which makes it almost 600 kilometers. And I want to do it in 24 hours. I'm pretty sure for you, this will be a piece of cake without a joke. But for me, it is going to be a big ride because I've never done a longer ride than 266 kilometers, I think. So this is more than twice that.
Yeah, and you know, you should not be very worried about that. I mean, if you've done already like 200 Ks, that's kind of enough, I would say. I was actually talking to my teammate, which I did RAAM with, and he's doing race across France as we speak now. And it's about 2,600 kilometers going through the Alps and the Mont Ventoux. So it's very, very hilly course. And he was on the bike yesterday and he was getting bored and he called me, and I was surprised to see him calling me because he's racing now, but he was so bored in the climb. And he told me that the longest training he was able to do this year to prepare for that race was 300 kilometers.
Okay.
And it was, you know, it's it's about 10% of the total distance, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really, you don't, like a marathon, you don't train for the whole marathon before, right? You just do a portion of it. So you should not be very worried about the fact you are not doing like 300, 400, 500, whatever kilometers per year of the race. So the key is actually quite surprising for a lot of people, but is to maintain high intensity training.
Okay.
A lot of people think that because they do long, they have to just do long and do zone 1, zone 2.
Yeah.
But doing that, you of course develop some skills and some experience, but you're also losing a lot of your speed, right? And eventually you are just slower, and it's even harder because you are slower and your 600K will take longer.
Okay. All right. But you still need to sit on the saddle for a long time. So I guess I do have to get used to doing longer rides. You know, in the past, I've done quite a bit of longer rides, and then I'm talking about 200 kilometers, which is long for me. I did those almost on a weekly basis, but not for the last couple of years, and especially not this year. So I've done a 200K ride this weekend, and at the last hour was already feeling quite hard. I did have a proper training week, and I did some efforts in the beginning of that ride. So it is different than doing like super steady the whole time. But just what do you think is the biggest or the most difficult aspect of an ultra endurance event like you do? Let's say the 12 or the 24-hour races that you've done.
You know, in the races, because there is of course a difference in between a ride and a race.
Yeah.
But in a race for 24 hours or even 12 hours, I do some 12 hours races as well. Definitely is the nutrition, right? It just, you need to make sure you can ingest enough food in order to keep going. And there is no secret about it. It's just you need to get used to your nutrition.
Okay.
That's the key, right? It just, if you don't eat, at some point you're gonna run out of energy, and it's over. You cannot move forward anymore. So as long as you can eat, honestly, you will do great. The most challenging thing remains actually everything but the legs. The legs will always keep moving, which is very impressive. Never got any issues with the legs, kind of, you know what I mean? But the neck, the back, the arms, the hands,
Yeah.
you know, those things sometimes.
Saddle soreness, probably.
Yes, saddle. So of course you're gonna have it.
Yeah.
You know, those things. It's where you can stop because of those things.
Yeah.
And so there is no much secret about it. You just need to get used to that. And it's actually those long drives that you are doing are actually here to prepare you for that. Mostly.
Yeah. And everybody always say if you read about training and nutrition, you need to train the food that you're gonna use on the event, right? You're not gonna eat different stuff on the day of the event than you're used to. Well, I'm always doing that, so that's good. But do you take different nutrition on a 24-hour ride than you would do on a 3-hour training?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I'm trying to use the food that I'm gonna take during the races. I'm trying to get them during the training. One thing, right now, I'm not super good at it. I have to admit that for 3 hours, I don't eat anymore. And that's a big mistake actually that I do. But for only 3 hours rides, I'm not eating anymore now.
Okay.
Because I think I've developed so much endurance that my body is used to that.
Yeah.
But my advice for you, since it's gonna be your longest ride ever, is definitely to train with the food you're gonna get during your challenge, and above and beyond. I mean, during the race, during your challenge, don't hold on food at all. Eat, and eat. You know, you're gonna have your hand always in the pocket, just grab food and
like this. Yeah,
exactly. That is the key. I mean, the only limit we have is how much your body can take. Right?
Yeah.
So when I started to do cycling, studies were saying that 60 grams per hour of sugar was the limit.
Yeah.
It looks that some people are able to raise that to 90 grams and even 120 grams. And I know that you
that's
have
a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I could not do that at all. But the more you are able to get, if your stomach is able to get it,
yeah,
the more efficient you're gonna be, for sure, 100%.
Okay. And do you also? There's some ultra endurance athletes that they claim or they say they're fat adapted. They go fully keto and they don't eat any carbs. I know you are not like that because I know you eat carbs, but I also know you're very, very, very particular about your carbohydrates. So do you have a special idea about that?
I heard a podcast on it last time, and I think the guy did a great summary of a keto diet. And he said, keto diet is amazing, but if you want to win the race, that's not going to work. Yeah,
No.
That was kind of, that keto is great, and unless you want to win. So,
okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great for a lot of people. And of course, the science is here and the studies have been done. And you cannot really argue the fact that if you are not using your carbs, you're going to use fat more. And since there is a huge reserve, even if you are very lean, there is a huge reserve of fat in our bodies. So the studies are here and nothing to argue with. The only thing is that you cannot go in higher zones.
Yeah.
In terms of effort on the keto. I mean, if you do zone 1, low zone 2, keto will be working pretty well.
Yeah.
If you are trying to push more, if you are trying to go uphill, of course, you're gonna go to zone 3, zone 4, and then
you need sugars.
You need carbs. You need carbs. You need sugar. So there is no secret about it. A lot of people have heard about the stories for the Tour de France guys like Chris Froome doing keto diets and stuff. we must be very careful. I don't want to go too much on it, but we must be very careful on those things because we don't know what else they do.
Yeah.
And they claim it as kind of to.
It's a part of a bigger thing,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe they do it
yeah.
temporarily or specific days or.
Yeah. And Chris Froome, for instance, because he's one of the first to do that and to admit to do keto, doesn't do that on races. He does it on training, which is great, and he gets fat adapted. And the story and the idea behind what they do is to be able to go longer without carbs. And when they do carbs, it's kind of a second tank. So with more energy, maybe toward the end of the race or when they need it, right? So
yeah.
It's kind of a dual tank that they are trying to develop. But again, both guys are followed by doctors on a daily basis. They do blood analysis, so they know what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, us like people who do work on the side and normal people that will say we must be very careful with that. I think the key is being on a daily basis doing a balanced diet. That's the best way to do. And on the bike, for sure, you need to eat carbs.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to eat carbs, as I always do. Well, I do a lot of faster rides as well, but for this ride, definitely I'm going to eat a lot.
My advice too is that, of course, when you do eat, you know that it goes through your stomach and the food has to be digested, right? So it takes a lot of efforts for your body to digest the food.
Yeah.
And blood. And so basically the blood is moving in your legs. So the blood is not available for the stomach to digest.
Yeah.
And so it's why liquid food is very, very important and very good tip that I can recommend to you is that to do liquid food, because doing that, you have the calories, very easy to ingest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away the energy from your legs.
Okay, good.
And you will be amazed. I mean, in some ultra distance races, some people, and I'm not part of them, are able to do liquid food for 6, 7, 9, 8, 9 days. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
No, I mean, it's mind blowing, right? It's just people are able to do liquid food for so long.
But even for you doing RAAM and doing it for 6 days straight, you must get issues with your stomach at some point, with your digestion, I guess. And but of course, this is another step from 24 hours to 6 days. But then you probably have some normal food in between.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted, during 6 days and a half, you don't sleep, you don't get any shower, you sleep like 10 minutes in the row at the most for 6 days, which is insane. But at least you want to find something to enjoy. And the food for me was part of that. I like to eat, and I like to eat things that I do enjoy and good stuff. So it was, doing liquid food for me was out of question because it will take too much
mental.
Yeah, mentality, right? It just, that was my thing to look for when I was on the bike. I was thinking, well, maybe after that relay, because we were relaying with my teammate, I will have like that bread with peanut butter and jelly, right? And I was looking forward to it. Or some rice and beets because I love that, or some avocado because I love it too. So it was kind of my motivation. But I was eating a lot. I mean, during RAAM, 6 days and a half, I gained weight.
Oh, that's you did great on nutrition then. That's
because
incredible.
I think my stomach is kind of bulletproof now because I've done so much things on it. Like, for example, I trained to do like 2,000 calories. I will eat 2,000 calories and I will go for a ride, which is very hard.
Yeah.
Because your body has to digest and but when you do that, you are kind of training your body to get a lot of food, and it makes
and then do an effort. Yeah. And that's what you did for 6 days in a row. Eat right, eat right, eat right. You told me sometimes you had relays of as short as 8 minutes, I think you told me. And it's incredible. We might even do a separate complete episode just about your RAAM experience, because that was, some of the stories you told me are so interesting. For now, let's just talk about you know, the general preparation that comes for a endurance event, let's say 12 to 24 hours, how would you, in just a general idea, how would you train for that?
So again, I think the mistake you have to avoid is to think that because you're gonna do long rides that you have to train for long all the time.
Yeah.
I think the endurance, everyone has it. It's more a mental game.
Yeah.
Speed, we have to develop that, right?
Okay.
So the mental is what makes those rides or races successful or not. If you give up during your attempt, mostly it's because your mental will give up. Your
Okay.
body has it, you know, just unless you get injured, of course, with something very significant, but it's gonna be painful, 100%. You will ask yourself, what are you doing here? Why am I doing that? But eventually, if your mind is able to take over and say, okay, let's move forward, your body will react. So in general, the preparation is not to burn your matches mentally. So
Okay.
it's very important that you remain fresh mentally and physically, but also mentally, by not burning all your motivation on the training. So let's say your ride is in a month, unless you love it, right? Yeah.
I have 4 weeks right now.
Some people love it and good for them. They like to spend 8 hours on the bike on the weekly basis. Good for them. I mean,
yeah.
But I'm not that type of person. I like to do a lot of different things, and I think you are the same way. And everything over 4 hours on the bike is long.
Yeah.
Even if I'm so just don't burn your matches going too long. Do a couple of rides, long rides like you did last weekend. It was great, 200K. You can increase it to 250, for example, to do like 8 hours of stuff. Like 8 hours is a good number to reach in the training. But beside it, keep your motivation, keep your speed, train as you would do almost a criterium. And that sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because doing that, you're gonna increase basically your FTP.
Yeah.
That means when you're gonna ride during your long events, you're gonna do maybe 200 watts, and it's gonna look so easy. Easy, right?
Yeah.
And if you just go for long, you're gonna do 200 watts, and it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
And so it just wow. So
I think I'm gonna be planning to do between 180 and 200 watts, at least for the first 12 hours. Did you hear that? There's a crazy thunderstorm outside right now. It's crazy. Actually, I have to check that. No, I'm still good because the windows are open, and I was afraid it's gonna rain. But yeah, there's a heat wave in the Netherlands, and well, then there's thunderstorms. But I was planning to do.
There is a heat wave in California as well, very, very short.
Okay.
I read this morning like 54 degrees Celsius in the Death Valley, which is a world record for
Okay. Wow.
But anyway,
they have the world record, and they broke their own world record then. That's cool. Yeah, I was planning to do about 180 to 200 watts, which is super low in the beginning. It's going to feel like, what am I doing? I'm doing nothing. But I know eventually it's still going to build up fatigue. And I'm aiming at like 30 kilometers an hour average. It's not a race, but I just want to complete it. If I go faster, with a tailwind, of course, I'm going to try and do that. So yeah,
my question is, at what time are you planning to do the ride, to start the ride?
I want to start in the morning. Just start at maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and then ride all day, and then ride into the night, and then hopefully I will end, in the early morning the next day.
I think you would be surprised by your speed. I mean, 30 kilometers per hour is a good goal, but I'm sure you can do even a little bit better. You can do 31, 32. You will be surprised. Of course, the key is also how aero you're gonna be. Are you having handlebars? I mean, aero bars or stuff, or TT bike, and those things. So those, in terms of speed, there is a lot of parameters, of course.
Yeah.
My advice too is not to hold too much at the beginning. You don't want to go too crazy. You don't want to do zone 4, zone 5, whatever. But you don't want to do zone 1 at the beginning neither.
Okay.
Because basically, it's like when you start your day in the morning. I'm in California, it's 7 o'clock or so right now. I'm having a lot of energy. I'm dedicated to my work, and I'm mentally focused and stuff, and it's doing great. And every minute that is that energy,
available energy is going down,
right?
Yeah.
And even if I'm sat on my chair at work, you know, I'm not doing any physical activity, but my energy level goes down.
Yeah.
Because of course you get tired through the day. So it's going to be the same on the bike. So the energy that you think that you are saving at the beginning by doing zone 1,
Yeah,
energy won't be available. It's gone, right?
So that's a good tip. Didn't even think about it that way. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just don't hold too much. You don't want to go too crazy neither, of course.
No.
But if zone 1 for you is, let's say,
up until
200,
yeah,
I would start at 240.
Yeah,
like
okay.
Mid zone 2, like comfortable, like maybe 220. 240 might be too much, but
my zone 2 is like 220 to 260. So
yeah, so start like low mid zone 2 for the last 2, 3, 4 hours. So like that, you will log in already a lot of miles or kilometers.
Yeah.
And that is done. So and the beauty of your challenge is that it's not a 24 hours race, right? It's a kilometer challenge.
Yeah.
So the faster you go, the earlier you're gonna finish. So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to keep it going for 24 hours. Actually, I just have to make it the distance. So faster is better. It's me in the bed earlier. Yeah.
And if I were you, I mean, sometimes I'm stupid. I'm going too fast, and I'm still, despite the fact that I have some experience, I'm still lacking some pace management. But if I were you, I would go kind of fast from the beginning to be able to log as much as possible when I'm fresh, and just finish with whatever I have until you know, just
good tip.
Even if you do 180, 170 toward the end, it's gonna be shorter.
Okay, so in terms of planning the ride and maybe the stops along the ride, I am going to pass my own house almost halfway. So after
that's the worst. Are you sure you want to do that?
I actually thought, I'm going to go home. I'm going to have some dinner, have a nap, and then continue.
Oh my God, that's the worst. I mean, wow.
It's going to be very easy to say, I quit. I'm going to stay here.
Are you sure you want to do that? Because honestly, halfway, you're going to, being so close to your house, it's going to be... mentally, that's going to be the worst. I'm not saying that you won't do that, but because of that, it might be you will find excuses to stop, right? Yeah. So I will avoid it. If I were you, I will reconsider.
Well, the thing is, I actually live in the middle of the country, and the route literally just passes my town. And I'm like, okay, I can go like through my house and wave to the kids and to Daisy. But okay, I'll think about it. But let's talk about the planning of the stops. I have a follow car. I will announce later. I have a really cool partnership with a car brand, and they're gonna provide a car for me to follow me. Maybe my parents are gonna be in the car, so I'm gonna have food and water and maybe extra clothing in the car. What do I need to bring, and what is a smart strategy to stop, maybe, or just to keep going and grab stuff from the car?
Keep going, especially in your challenge. It's 600 kilometers, so the faster and the more you log in, the earlier the end is gonna be. So for 24 hours, for example, my typical stop time will be about 9-10 minutes over the course of 24 hours.
Wow, this is insane. Yeah, I know.
The only reason I stop, and most of the guys who race with me are the same, the only reason we do stop is for natural needs, to pee, basically.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to pee, basically you would not stop. I mean, I would not stop if I didn't have to pee, because every stop, first of all, you are slowing down. It's very easy to waste 5, 10, 15 minutes while you stop, because your mind is very tired and you don't feel the time the same way. So it's very easy to waste time for nothing, looking for socks, gloves, food, whatever. Yeah. So I would keep going and having someone just to
ride next to me in the car.
Yeah. Just grab the food from the car, grab the drink from the car. And the only reason you will change your clothing will be if there is a big change of temperature or raining and sun and stuff. If the weather is consistent through the day, there is no reason you will change your clothing.
Okay. Just maybe a wind jacket.
Not for so short.
No, it's so short. Well, guys, just so you guys know who we are talking to right now, Evans set the world, like the unofficial, but dude, it is amazing, a record on the 24-hour race of Le Mans. I know Le Mans is a very special place for you. You did this event twice. The first time in 2016, you rode 853 kilometers. And the year after, you did 950 kilometers in 24 hours. That is insane. And now you understand why this guy only stops for 9 minutes, because he just keeps on going. And, but that's a race, right? So even if you give me an advice for my challenge, which is not a race, you would say, don't stop, just keep going.
I mean, the thing is, every minute through the day is gonna be harder and harder. So the earlier you are done, the better. I mean, that's my point. I mean, unless you really want to do 24 hours or whatever, just because.
But the 5-minute break I have after 4 hours, it's way harder in the end to ride an extra 5 minutes. Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? It just that's very important to keep that in mind. And for example, it's very different, of course, but for RAAM, Race Across America, of course, it was 6 days and a half. We won the race. We were having a good lead, but for the record, we did the record for about 20 minutes ahead of the previous record.
Yeah.
And after 6 days and a half, you are talking about minutes, right? So it just every second counts on those races, and I think on those challenges, kind of the same. You want to be done as early as possible, because it's gonna be harder and harder and harder every minute.
So I need a car with enough bottles to give me water, liquid nutrition, maybe some easy bars to eat, different clothing if the weather changes.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. They just need to be there. If I have a flat, I can swap a wheel maybe.
Exactly, yeah.
And so just a question, your background is there's a car with 3 bikes and it's you in front of the car. Is this during RAAM?
This is during RAAM, yeah.
Okay.
I don't recall exactly where was it, but must be somewhere in Arizona or something.
Somewhere in the 5,000 kilometers. So, but you, of course, you had two-man teams. So you have multiple bikes. You also have a time trial bike. So I know you guys swapped bikes depending on what kind of piece of the course you had. Of course, on an uphill, you wouldn't go on your time trial bike, but the fast flats, you would be riding on a faster time trial bike. I'm going to do everything on a normal bike. Netherlands is pretty flat, but, part of the challenge is just to do it on a normal bike, but I will have a spare bike with maybe a wheel to change a flat. Did you, I know you slept in the car during that challenge for only 10 minutes at the time, but on the bike, did you just drink then?
I was eating very easy stuff such as a banana or something. It's very French, but we have those fruit paste in France. It's kind of made in the bakeries and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's pure sugar. It's,
marmalade or?
Sorry?
Is it like marmalade or jelly? Jam?
It's kind of jelly, but it's basically it's fruits with sugar, so it's perfect. So there's 2 sources of sugars, because just to come back on the carbs, I'm not the specialist, but I did my homework, and basically the way we are able to increase the carbs from 60 to 90 and even 120 grams per hour, is because we have different sources of carbs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you want to mix them to increase the amount of stuff you can actually pass through your stomach. And great. What were some of the unexpected challenges or difficulties you came across during, I know RAAM, there were quite a few. But maybe the first time you did 24 hours of Le Mans, like what did you learn from that event?
Yeah, no, that's the greatest question you can ask, and you will think about me when you're gonna be on your challenge. Is that at some point you will think that it's over, that you have no more energy, your mental game is not there anymore. I mean, you will say, and maybe it's gonna be another 200 kilometers to go, and you will think that it's over.
Impossible.
And then
yeah.
you will kind of bear the pain for a while. You're gonna say, okay, let's try 10 more kilometers whatsoever. Let's eat, let's drink, and then you will feel amazing. Like you know, you're gonna have up at the beginning. You will feel, oh, I can do that for the whole day. It's gonna be amazing for the first 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Then, like everyone, you're gonna start to slow down a little bit, and it's gonna get harder. And then you're gonna reach the dip. You're gonna be like nowhere. It's gonna be so hard. And if you bear the pain at that point, it's gonna be back up almost at the same level at the beginning. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit less watts, but in terms of feeding on the bike and your mental games, and you will feel amazing, and you will realize that time doesn't apply the same way. You're gonna look at your Garmin, and it's gonna read like maybe 13 hours, and you're gonna look at your Garmin again, and it's gonna be 15 hours, and you haven't seen the 2 hours.
You're in the zone, and you just
exactly. And I don't do anything such as alcohol or drug or whatsoever, but I can tell you that during those events, I've been on phases. I've been things, but only those efforts can put you on that kind of a phase.
I think I've experienced this once, because my what I said, my longest distance was 260 whatever, but I actually think of it now. I did Alpe d'Huez one day, and I did it 7 times in a row, and that took me 11 and a half hours actually.
Wow.
And I remember my fifth time, or my sixth time was the fastest.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Of course, in the beginning, you pace it. You don't go really fast because you want to keep that energy. And then at some point, you're like, wow, I feel really good. I'm just going to go for it. So I think, I'm looking forward to experience that last couple hours where you feel amazing. That dip is going to be awful, but I know it's coming, and I guess... you just have to go through it. How long does it take? An hour?
It can last for 5 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour, whatever. You just need to bear the pain, and it's gonna come back for sure. As long as you can eat and you can drink. In long distance events where we see the people not finishing, it's mostly because of stomach issues.
Yeah.
Especially in those days, like if it's a couple of days events, the main reason people do quit is because of the neck issues. Basically, at some point, the most part of the neck cannot hold the head anymore.
Okay.
And so basically, it's too hard for them to keep going, so they will stop. That's the main reason we see people not finishing long events.
Yeah.
On 12, 24 hours races, the most reason we see people quitting is because of the stomach issues.
Okay.
So my advice also is to the day prior the challenge, the 2-3 days prior, it's to not overeat, not do so much fibers, try to reduce as much as possible the fiber, try to reduce the fat as well, maybe like good fish or avocado or nuts, but don't go with the greasy stuff, whatever, just be very simple. My advice would go with plain pasta with a little bit of olive oil and maybe some proteins like eggs and meat and stuff, something you do like.
Yeah.
And avoid as much as possible of the bad, of the crap, because
I don't eat crap in general, so I always eat really clean. I really love my oatmeal. That I eat a lot of oatmeal, and then of course I do eat some sandwiches like bread, but then after training, I always do with some sweet stuff, but I eat a lot of rice and pasta. But I know you have a very specific preparation on those last days, but that's another topic. But it is amazing that you eat plain pasta for 3 days, more or less, to cut down the the fibers
fiber.
and stuff.
Yeah, the fibers. I cut down the fibers as much as possible just to put my body very clean, very ready to ingest.
Absorb. Yeah.
Absorb very quickly. And the fiber is great on the daily basis. Fibers are very, very important. Like,
yeah.
But just 2 days, 3 days pre your challenge, I will reduce them as much as possible.
Okay. Just a little short about, well, this year, of course, COVID is messing everything up. I know you were preparing for the race across America in a solo effort, which is even more impressive than doing it in a two-man team. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I know it's pretty tough to not being able to do that. Of course, there's other people with bigger issues. I mean, this is sort of luxury problems. But I mean, you are really preparing for this for a long time. So it's a big bummer that it's not going. But you just told me you have another thing to work to.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the 24 hours World Championship, which are happening in Borrego Springs in California. Very tough race because, of course, it's 24 hours, but it's in the middle of nowhere. Almost flat, but very hot, like we can easily reach 40, 42, 45 degrees. So it's very hard, very hard because of that. And because it's on the TT bike, so the positioning is very hard for the neck, for the back. Even though now I feel better on the TT bike than on the regular bike. I mean, I think we feel more relaxed on the TT bike. The aero bars make you more comfortable. I mean, it's my
most people don't, but I know you told me before that you have a really good position on your TT bike, so that's great.
And when you are on the road bike, I feel like a frog on the. In French, we have an expression for that. We call it like a frog on the box of matches. So it doesn't mean anything in English, but it's like. You look like that, you know, and you take all the air and there is no aero at all and you are fighting against the air all the time. Where on the TT bike, you are very well relaxed on your shoulders and you are going through the air. And I mean, I like much better the TT bike for sure now.
All right. So dude, this is the the official world championship.
Yeah, this is the official world championship for the ultra cycling events.
Okay.
The only, of course, with the COVID now, I'm a little bit pessimistic about the fact it's gonna be happening or at least be through a world championship because a lot of people might not be able to travel.
Yeah.
So we will see. We have 2 more months from now, or actually 7 weeks. So we will see. Hopefully it's gonna happen. If not, I will look forward for 2021 when I'm planning to do RAAM solo.
RAAM solo. Wow, that's interesting and impressive. I think we're gonna wrap it up. I have some tips for my challenge. Thanks a lot. I really want to talk to you again because maybe in preparation for RAAM 2021 or anything else, because there's a lot to learn from your experiences, definitely.
For sure. Looking forward to see how your ride goes, but I'm sure you're gonna kill it.
Well, I'll let you know. Of course, you see it on Strava, and then.
And if you go through your house at Midway, you're gonna be my hero forever because I could not do that. If after 300K I'm near my house, I'm stopping at it for sure.
Yeah, I need to really think about that. It might make a good story though, but
we'll
see. Okay, thanks a lot.
The kids gonna see you, so that's good.
Exactly. Thanks a lot.
That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this very first podcast. Let me know if you want to see more of these podcasts and maybe if you have any suggestions on who I should talk to and what subjects and topics I should talk about. So let me know. Thanks for watching. Just make sure you hit the subscribe button and that little bell notification because only then you get a notification when I post a new video. See ya! Room service. I'm in quarantine here in Shanghai in the hotel, the airport hotel. So 3 times a day they put food in front of our door. We're here for 24 hours. I've been sleeping for a couple hours, so this is the first meal. And then after 24 hours, we go back to the plane, we fly home. Beef.